Hey there, everyone. It's Christine Furman with Momspiration 412, founder of EduPlay Learning and Teaching Moments. And we are here today with the fourth episode of the Christine Furman Show. And I am so honored to have a wonderful guest, Aubrey Worek. Hello, Aubrey.
Hello, happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so very much for being here. It is such an honor to have you. You are the fitness expert on Pittsburgh Today Live for those of you in the Pittsburgh area, so you may have seen her there. She has been on the cover of a magazine. What magazine was that?
It's called BFW, Beauty, Fitness, Wellness.
Love that. She's been featured in many fitness and yoga magazines and online articles, as well as she has all of these online programs that I myself have been a part of since she started them and love them, and just the wealth of knowledge that you have to bring to the table. So thank you so much for being here and joining us on the show, Aubrey.
Absolutely. And, fitness and wellness, nutrition, it is truly my passion. And I really want to help people kind of manage where they are right now in their life, because typically what has worked for us in the past doesn't really serve us in the present. And I see people getting caught up in this vicious insanity cycle, especially this time of the year, where they're like, well, I used to do this diet and I'm just going to apply it after the holidays and it's going to forgive me of all my food sins or whatever. And unfortunately, that technique does not work. So I'm happy to share some helpful tips with everybody.
I so love that. And it's so true, because you and I just had this conversation. And like I said, Aubrey is my health and wellness coach and has been for months now. And every time I take one of her programs, she always gives me little tidbits of health and wellness advice, things to change, foods to look out for, and things like that. And you gave me one tip that has helped save me so much.
Yeah.
And yes.
So this is interesting to talk about. So typically when we have like that light bulb moment, I tell people it's like, you don't have to change everything all at once. It is just like those little teeny tiny tweaks that will cultivate a bigger result, in as little as like, 3 weeks. Okay. And you might have even felt different within days. And it's important to talk. Everyone is so different and nothing is like really a panacea, but, talking to you and really knowing kind of a little bit more about your health history, we were able to kind of do a troubleshooting moment with you that really worked. So I was happy to share that.
Yes, it's been amazing. It's definitely been a game changer for us. And I love the energy and the shift that you bring to the table, whenever you do your program. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got into this, and then how do you relate to people? How do you find that connection for them?
Yeah, I'm going to say, you know what? Nobody comes out of the womb with a six pack. Nobody comes out of the womb doing one arm push-ups, nothing like that. I grew up actually a pretty unconfident kid, and I was really insecure, specifically with my body. As a young dancer, I was always put in front of mirrors, and just naturally I would compare myself to other young girls. And that's kind of where, like, if you want to give it a label, you could say it's body dysmorphia, or really, it was just my journey that started kind of very much as a struggle. So even though looking back at pictures of myself as a kid and a teenager, you would never think like, oh my gosh, you have a weight problem. And I think that's where the struggle lies, is that we all are here to find our purpose. And a lot of times our purpose is really the bane of our existence. And that was me. And so I struggled. I always tell people this. I didn't battle an eating disorder. I gave myself an eating disorder. That was a choice that I made. And I really take ownership of that from the age of about 12 to 27. So I tell people this, not only to be vulnerable, to be like, hey, this was really my story, but I don't make it my identity. It was a story that happened in the past that has led me to be extremely passionate and empathetic to people in terms of where they are with their relationship with food. Now, I went to an extreme from anorexia, bulimia, binge eating. So I've gone to a very low body weight to a body weight that definitely much heavier than what you see before you today. So I can relate to people in the fact that if food is kind of your drug of choice, or if you have what I call the kryptonite foods in your house, that you find yourself like, oh, well, why can't I just control it? It's about self-control. And one thing that was extremely liberating for me was reframing a lot of those words, specifically that C word, and changing it to a different C word. Yeah. So instead of saying control, I would tell myself I'm in charge. So if there was a kryptonite food around, that I'm in charge, I have a choice as well. And I really started a lot of self-help along the way, as well as again, really letting go of playing the victim role. So, any type of addiction is very serious, because you can go down this point where you really do need a professional's help. And, I do relate an eating disorder much like a drug addiction. And it became very hard because it wasn't like I was a heroin addict and there was, but I, when you're addicted to food or certain foods, it's all around you constantly. So that was quite an interesting time period of my life. But what it has led me to do now is to really understand the whole person, instead of just saying, well, we're going to count calories, we're going to count macros, I'm going to put you on keto, all of these different things that are jump starts for a lot of people, and they have a place in society, I suppose. But again, we're looking for a panacea. And I tell people, if you can pump the brakes, and just like what you did, if you can just say, you know what, I'm just going to change this one little thing. And I'm going to trust the process, and the rest will set you free. Yeah. Specifically, I notice at this time of the year, and you and I were talking offline, people, really struggle with self-control around sugar. So I say, breaking up with sugar is really not hard to do. And if it is right now, it's not your fault. Sugar is meant to be as addictive as cocaine. And just like refined wheat, it is meant to be that addictive. And it's a white refined powder. And when it's sprinkled into foods and seasonings that you don't even think of, food manufacturers do that for an intentional reason, to get you hooked. Right? To keep you buying. And what happens along the way is that, we have this sugar moment where we feel so good. It's like when you eat a donut, it feels so glorious in the moment, doesn't it? I mean, it's orally satisfying, the dopamine releases, and you're just like making out with the donut. It's great. But then the donut is gone. Yep. And then we, especially as women, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have eaten that. How many calories was that? Did that make my macros? I'm going to get fat off one donut. And the slew of negative self-talk then will ensue. So everyone has a different starting point. So I tell people this: you have to own your stuff. And and this was a big pivotal point for me. I had to own where I was in terms of when I met my husband. I was like, I have had over 15 years of struggling with my relationship with food. There were some foods I just couldn't have in the house. Wow. And now I can. I had to do a lot of gut repair work. I had a lot of work to do, but I just had this moment with him, and I was like, listen, I can't have it in the house. And I'm sorry, because if I do, it elicits this drug-like response, and I go bananas, in not a good way. And it's very depressing. So it's that high and low. So number one, I would say, own your stuff. And number two, that food, really consider omitting it from your pantry for a while. You can still go out and get it. If you want the ice cream, you can go down to Dairy Queen or whatever suits your fancy to get the ice cream as a treat. But if you constantly have your drug of choice in the house, what happens is, when the sun goes down, Cookie Monster comes out. Right. It's basic biology, your circadian rhythm. People always tell me, Aubrey, I'm doing so good early in the day, and then evening hits And that's really what the body relaxes. We want to be cozy. We want to feel that the dopamine. And that's when we go for the kryptonite.
I love that. That makes so much sense.
Mhm. So, people also ask me, Christine, okay, well, then what can I have? Because I'm still craving these things. Because just like any other addiction, there's going to be a detox period.
Right.
And that little bit of uncomfort, that is where you want to take charge. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to let go of the old tapes or records that you used to tell yourself of like, I just need to have more willpower. I need this or that. Really what needs to happen is you need to breathe.
Yep.
And you're human. So if you have any hiccups along the way, forgive yourself.
Yep.
You might have, I had a lot of hiccups along the way. And whenever I've trained for fitness competitions, I've never had the perfect diet. I've had hiccups along the way where I've been like, oh my gosh, it's during that time in my cycle, especially as women, you need to know your cycle, where our bodies are meant to eat more food. And by the way, you burn more calories leading up to your cycle, by the way. So if you are eating more, it's legit. Right. And then I'm really craving good chocolate. So I would say forgive yourself and then find a good swap. For me, I really swapped a lot out with dark chocolate. And that was very helpful. And last but not least, I want to make sure that we're okay on time here because I keep
good.
But the last thing I wanted to mention is that, working with a professional to make sure that you are not nutrient deficient, which you probably are, hate to say it, because we all have different gut health issues that have been damaged by pharmaceutical drugs, antibiotic, maybe, other digestive disorders. And so your body is kind of like, hey, I want to feel good. So a quick fix is sugar.
Right.
But we need to have the micronutrients. So most people at this stage in the game, you need to have some form of supplementation in order to balance the gut so that your brain is balanced too.
I love this. This is so wonderful. And as you spoke about changing the words, one of the things that you said earlier in our sessions was, instead of I would like to lose the weight, I want to release it.
Yes.
And share with our viewers about that, because that to me was like, yes, like I don't want to lose it and find it again. Yes. I want to release it and like shed that.
Now, I heard this on another podcast, a good friend of mine who I was on, Kim Barnes Jefferson, she's a podcast, and I was listening to hers, and one of the professionals on there said that, and that was like, oh my gosh, that's so true, because I gave up saying I want to lose weight or lose body fat a long time ago, but my clients, ones that they just weren't ready to work with me, it's like, kind of, they're like, I want to work with you, but then I don't. I think I can do it myself, but then I can't. It's like touch and go. And they're always saying, I want to lose. And it's what I want to release, because if you lose something, you chances are you want to find it. And what this is doing, everybody, is like training your subconscious mind or retraining it. So your words are so powerful. You got to make that choice to really reframe and to understand what you say. Like if you keep saying, I hate my abs, or, I said that for too many years about my body. And as soon as I stopped saying that, my body was like, hey, oh, you love me again? Oh, thanks. And so then it started to express itself in a much more physically attractive way. And if you don't think this works, there's a Japanese scientist, his name's Dr. Emoto. And I think his study was done specifically in the 90s. Don't quote me on that, but look up Emoto. What he did a study with water and with plants, and he would talk nicely to the water to see what would crystallize. And then he would talk nasty things to the water. And so he would examine the water crystals under a microscope, and the ones that he would say positive affirmations to, like love, hope, peace, form these beautiful symmetrical little snowflakes. And the water that he would say nasty things to, like, I hate you, you're disgusting, it would have these asymmetric, just gnarly looking water
Wow.
crystals. And he did with this with plants too. He was able to actually kill a plant just by speaking negatively to it. I have the chills with that. So look
Yeah.
that study up. It's Dr. Emoto, and that is another game changer, to be like, your words are so powerful. And just like what you do, Christine, how you empower people with their children through words. So what you're doing, if you're speaking kindly about yourself, you're passing this on to your children.
Absolutely.
To break
And
those.
we talk about that a lot, you and I. We definitely do, because that is a huge part of what I do, that our children are always watching us. And that's something that, working with you more, I have definitely loved my body, and my confidence has soared a lot, instead of saying, oh, I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I really don't like that. Or, oh, I just continue to embrace that. And I truly believe that was from you saying, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, like, embrace that. And when you do, it just builds that confidence in you. It builds that, I don't know, it was just so different. And then it's also allowing that to shine onto our family, our kids, and allowing them to say, I love who I am, and if there is something that I want to change, I have the power to do that.
Absolutely.
And you find the right people, much like yourself, to be able to help and make those changes in your life and in your body. And it helps the whole family unit.
100%. And something that, when Roman was in your program with EduPlay, which he obviously still talks about, he pulled out one of the boxes. This was last week again, and he wants to do EduPlay. So we'll do that.
I
And
love that.
oh, it's amazing. But something that, really, when we started with EduPlay, you helped me recognize a blind spot. I was doing all this affirmation work almost in secret. And now I do all the affirmation work around him, and he does it with me.
I love it.
We do something called gratitude push-ups every morning. We do our positive affirmations, even if he's being a smart aleck and says the opposite.
Yep. That's what happens.
It's a part of a routine.
Yep. They're still listening. They still know the right things, but they're kids. They're still learning. They're building their independence. And, I love that. That makes me so happy. It truly does.
Good. No,
My kids, I have to share with you, whenever I do your workouts on the TV, they're out there doing their own workouts with me. So
that's so awesome.
it is. It's just so amazing to see that, and just building up our kids as we continue to build up ourselves.
Can you imagine these habits? If you and I would have learned these when we were younger, exercise would have never been a struggle. It took a long time to make exercise a habit, because I didn't know how to make a habit.
Yep. I agree with you. I totally agree with you, because that was something that I wanted to do. I was like, I know that I know my body needs this, but it was kind of a struggle. It was like, I just don't enjoy it, or why do I have to work so hard when some people don't,
Exactly.
and I'm envious of their body style,
Definitely. Oh, yes.
And now that I have the opportunity to build that routine and have it into my own children at such a young age, to say, we work out so we can stay healthy, so we can stay strong, so we can, continue to build our confidence, and to share that with them at a young age and allow them to just grow up knowing, like, this is why we do this. And it's part of our daily routine. I just am so blessed and happy to be able to do that.
Yeah. And, the last thing, and I know I figured we push it to the limit, but one thing that also, again, I think that I've taken away from EduPlay that I integrate with Roman now, because he's an only child. I'm a first time mama, he's 5 now, but, I think, wait a minute, how am I applying my knowledge and help teaching him? So it's actually a really good conversation starter with my son. So I'll talk about like an orange that he's eating, and I'll say, you know what, there's a vitamin in this that is really good for our immune system. It's called vitamin C. And then later on, I'll give him a pop quiz, and I'll be like, wait a minute, what was that vitamin that's in an orange again? And so he'll say vitamin C, and all these little things that you've made me think of, instead of me running around making sure that I'm doing my mom role, instead of actually conversing with my child and having, again, a
Yeah.
teachable moment in with the day, and treating them kind of also like a mini client. Like I would have these
Yes.
conversations with the client. So why
Yep.
shouldn't I have it with my child?
Absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right. They are learning every step of the way, and why not explain everything that we're doing to them? I
Yeah.
just had my husband and I had a pretty serious conversation. It was over a dog that we were potentially going to get. Instead of saying like, "Hey, we're not going to get this dog," and having the kids upset, we told them the situation,
Mhm.
totally honest, and they both were like, "Okay, we understand,"
Wow.
So it's just allowing them to be a part of the conversation, and, kind of just building that respect within the family to say, we have the openness to be able to have these conversations
Mhm.
and be honest and truthful. And, it really has helped, them grow and us grow as parents as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's really
We've
important.
switched topics. We're talking about you.
Oh, no, I think that's it. I think it's all valid. I think it all works.
Yes.
So yeah,
But
I know that we have to wrap things up.
yeah, well, thank you so much, Aubrey. Guys, if you want to find more about Aubrey, her programs, please, Aubrey, share where they can find you.
Yeah. So you can work out with me from anywhere, and I love that. Right now, you can find me at my name, at Aubrey Worek. My website is aubreyworek.com, and that's AubreyWorek. And also, I'm launching a Strong, Sexy You in 22 program at the end of January. So this is going to be a big deal. And if you're interested in it and you mention this podcast, then I will absolutely extend a nice little discount on the program for you.
I love it. And guys, if you are on the fence, if you are wanting to start off 2022 strong, I suggest you definitely check it out, because Aubrey's programs are absolutely amazing. And I will definitely be there for sure, because I just take so much knowledge away from her every time that, she shares information in a workout. So I will be there for sure. Thank you so much, Aubrey. Just an honor to have you on the show today.
Thank
And if
you.
you viewers have any questions for Aubrey, please drop them in the comments here, and we'll be sure to check back and, answer those questions as they come in. But we want to say thank you, everyone that tuned in today. Thank you again, Aubrey. And do you have any final words, any last, final things you would share with our audience?
I think in parting, take this as really something that will inspire action. These are all good things, but we are creatures of our own habits that sometimes just don't serve us anymore. So take one little action step that you have learned from this talk and apply it for the rest of the week. See how you do.
I love that. Love it. Start small, everyone. Don't take off more than you can chew, and just one little thing at a time. Thank you so much, Aubrey. Hope you guys all have a great day. As always, I'm sending you so much love, hugs, happiness, and health, and we will see you next week. Bye, guys.